So saying yeah is fun and all, but it's not the most interesting thing in the world. Maybe we can make this do just a tad more. We could use it to replace the text in the paragraph. Oh my gosh. Let's see about it. We still have our button here. We still want that. Let's say we could do function, update, text. So now, if we want to change the paragraph, we need to find the paragraph, don't we? So we could use our old friend document.querySelector. Pass it a selector as a string that would identify the paragraph. It's the only paragraph on the page. That would find the first one. Seems legit. So we'll just say const p equals that. To change the text. Well, that's tricky. Let's console log that p here. And just change our event listener from say yeah, which doesn't exist anymore, to update text. Now we had say yeah actually set to a variable. This time we've used a regular old function declaration for it. Does this still work? Yeah, I can still say update text parentheses. So it's still essentially available as a local variable for me. So we're hoping, open up our console, by clicking the button, click too hard. Guess I used too much power. Document query selector P, console log P, update text. Add event listener, click, update text. What's your problem? Nothing. Yeah, right now it's just console logging it. Oh man. Yeah, it's still explain. Oh, it's console logging it. Let's do this again. Okay. Click. This is the real console now. In Chrome. So you can open up your JavaScript developer tools with, on a Mac, Option Command J. On Windows, I believe that is Shift Command J or F12. Get used to that shortcut. We're going to be opening it a lot. We're getting past what the tools built into CodePen can do, so we're going to use the ones in Chrome. So it console logged this, and notice when I hover over it, it actually shows it on the page. So I know I'm hovering over the right thing. Let's run this line right here in the console. I can just start typing JavaScript right here. And that way I can actually get to P. Hey, it says undefined. Is that bad? No, that's fine. An assignment in JavaScript always returns undefined. It doesn't return the value. So that's just the return value. The return value of an assignment statement is undefined. But P is still what we want it to be. So we know we have things like P, add event listener. We know we have, well, that's about all we know, isn't it? I suppose we have on click. We also have one called textContent. P.textContent. Wrong paragraph. That's not the one it found. Because when we ran document query selector inside CodePen, it was one thing. But now, there's more in the DOM than we thought. So how can we be more specific about the paragraph we're targeting? What if, yeah, what'd you say? You could give it a class or an ID. Difference Class, you can have more than one element on the page with the same class. ID, you should only have one on the page with that ID. So we could say ID equals my cool text. Dog. All right, or my cool text. How's that? And actually, we tend to make our CSS classes and IDs hyphenated instead of camel cased. So now what? Document.query selector. Let's make sure this is saved. Now P may not grab the right paragraph. How do we target the one with a specific ID? Anybody know the CSS selector syntax for an ID? Hash, right. So we could say P hash my cool text. And that would say a paragraph element with the ID my cool text. If we didn't care that it's a paragraph and we just wanted to find anything with an ID of my cool text, we could just put hash my cool text. So you could do an ID selector by itself, or you can combine it with an element selector to be even more specific. Either way is fine. And hopefully that gets us the right one. Let my paragraph equal that. Let's check out my paragraph. It's not doing it because of the whole doggone code pin thing. If we put that same line, however, inside here, let's say const p equals document query selector my cool text. And let's just put another paragraph above it just to make sure there are other paragraphs on the page, so we can test that our selector actually worked. Fine to put line breaks there. HTML treats line breaks, any amount of white space, as a single space. And now, if we console log this, let's have a look. Click me. Yeah, it's not showing it, but it's there. How about if we alert it? Alert P. Object HTML paragraph element. Okay. Sounds right. And we said we could get the text how? .textContent. Not a function, just a property, no parentheses at the end. Check that out. And it says, kick back and enjoy yourself. Very good. And it runs this when I click because of this line down here, right? We already set that up as an event listener. So we know we can get to the text by p.textContent. Could we change it? Could we say p.textContent equals something else entirely? Thanks for clicking. Let's watch that paragraph. Oh, it changed to thanks for clicking. We just changed the actual content of the page using JavaScript. We have unlocked so much power already. So great. Our lives are totally different. Now, I think Roy asked, what if you wanted to pass an argument into that? We could do that real quick. What if we want to specify the text that we want to change it to? We want this same function to work more than one place, maybe. So, update text. Let's give it an argument called new text. And set p.textContent to whatever new text happens to be. Now we can't invoke this here. So what can we do? A couple ways to do it. Here's one that doesn't really involve introducing anything too crazy. So we said we could write the function right here, right? And just not give it a name, like that. And it would be just like writing a string literal in place. It's just a function literal that hasn't been assigned to a variable yet. But second argument's a function, we can just write the function right there. And what's this function going to do? This function's going to call update text and pass in the string that we want. I less than 3 JavaScript. See why that would work? This is the function that's actually going to run. I didn't invoke this, right? It's just a function. And inside that function, that anonymous function, I'm manually calling I heart JavaScript. Or update text with that argument. Yay, I less than 3 JavaScript. Seem legit? Cool. So since update text could theoretically work more than one place, what if we change this paragraph to an H1? Welcome. Could we change the text of that? Well, not if I have the query selector hard-coded in here, huh? Bummer. Now's not the time for this example, I think. What if I wanted to change the text of the button? Okay, we can do that. Let's just make update text. See, here's what I want. This is a dream, but maybe, just maybe. What if I could say inside my event listener, which is update text, instead of using query selector to just grab something off the page that I already know about, what if I want it to act on the thing the event occurred on? In other words, I click a button, that's the thing I want to change. I click on a paragraph, that paragraph, the one I clicked on, that's the one I want to change. I don't know what it's called. Maybe it has an ID, maybe it doesn't. I don't even know what kind of element it is. I just know it's something with text content. Could we do it? Could we do it? I believe. So let's go back to hard coding this for a moment. So that we can explore a little something. And we'll just say update text. We didn't put any arguments in here. But guess what? When it calls an event listener, it's going to pass in an argument anyway. JavaScript doesn't enforce the number of arguments that a function receives, so you can always pass extra ones and it won't complain. Or we could put arguments in here and it could fail to pass them in and it still won't complain. It just doesn't enforce that. You might run into an exception when you try to use that argument, but it doesn't enforce it. So it's been passing in an argument all along to all of our event listeners. And that argument is an event object. We'll call it EV so that we can actually do something with it. So what can we do with this event object? Well, I'll tell you one thing we can do. Well, first, let's just alert the event object itself. Let's have a look at that. Object, mouse event. Cool. It's an event. Well, among other things, that event object has a property called target. What do you suppose that is? What do you suppose the target of an event is? Which object? The button. The thing that the event occurred on. Because remember, we're not just listening for any old click. We're listening to a click on this button. So the target of that event is the object on which the event occurred. The thing that was clicked in this case. Is it true? Click me. Object, HTML button element. Seems to be true. So, what if we did this? Event.textContent equals clicked. The string clicked. Think it'll work? Not event. Event.target, right? Haha! Special. So now there's nothing about this function that really ties it to that button, right? This function could work on anything. And whatever you clicked will change. So what if we also grabbed that paragraph? Const p equals document dot query selector. How do we target by ID? If it's just by element name, we just put the element name. Hash. Yep. My cool text. Think I could add an event listener to that? Call the same function? Why the heck not? This function doesn't care. Click the button, button text content changes. Click the paragraph, paragraph content changes. We can totally do that. So we started listening for clicks on this, and we started separately listening for clicks on this. And they both have functions that they run. They happen to be the same function. Doesn't matter. There's nothing inside update text that ties it particularly to a button or a paragraph. It just has to occur on something that has text content. We could do it to the H1 too. Yeah, go ahead.
Is the target, like the dot target, is that kind of like its text like its click event method? Or when you wanted to do that?
Say one more time.
Is the target like their like a click event method? Is that kind of what it refers to?
So
Like how clicking on the paragraph or the button?
yeah, so we set up event listeners. When the event occurs, do something. And that thing that occurs is an event. And the event has to happen on something. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens to something, like a button. A button is clicked. So the target of the event is always the object on which the event occurred. So if it's a click, it's going to be the thing you clicked. If it's a form submission, it's going to be the form that got submitted. If it's a mouse moving over something, it's whatever the mouse moved over. So the target is the thing on which the event took place. So if you like clicked just anywhere in the background, that would still be a click on the body. So you could listen for that too. Groovy? Let's see if we can actually build a thing that uses some of this outside of CodePen.